It's a great honor to be here. I'm Tim Erickson. I teach at Lick-Wilmerding High School in San Francisco. I teach a regular statistics course to juniors and seniors. This talk is all about how rich data can give you great lessons. So another possible title is Juicy Data. Okay? So for this juicy data has to be real. And you don't have to sanitize it for kids to use it. Dealing with authentic, messy data is an important skill, but the important thing in my message here tonight, besides scaffold, don't sanitize, is what's really important is the juice you get from the real thing. So 2 chapters, 2 examples. Chapter 1, this is all of statistics. And I'm going to be interested in this little spot right here, variability. Okay? And so what's hard for kids about variability? One problem is the difference between the variation you get from repeated measurements of the same thing, that is to say, like measurement error, and what we might call real variability, how things differ from each other. So when we get that, oh, then there's also one more thing, appear. Oh, sampling error. That's later. But now we need an activity to illustrate this. So you look at what you have. You got sand timers, you got stopwatches. Oh, I know what we can do. We're going to have groups each get a sand timer, and they're going to repeatedly time the sand timer with the stopwatch, and then you can compare the groups to one another. The measurements of a single timer should be closer together than the intergroup measurements, which is perfect. But first you have to do it yourself. Okay, so here's my first 5 data points. Look at this space in between. I wonder if that's going to hold. Here's some more. There's still a space. What's going on? OMG, it alternates. One direction is faster than the other. This is what I mean by juicy data. What's going to happen? The box plots are out the window. How do I use this in class? What variation do I want them to see? The sort of actual measurement error distance? Or the interdirectional distance? What's going to happen? So I decided, what the heck, just run with it. See what happens. Don't clap, I don't have the time. Okay. In the debriefing, this group explained what they saw, but despite leading questions and giving every opportunity, nobody recognized the implications for understanding variation. So I dropped it. They weren't ready. But you know what? It didn't matter. The main goal was still accomplished. We got the little variation, the big variation. It's all in the bank for later in the year when we do experimental design and randomization. Okay, breathe. Chapter 2. Free, transparent public data. US Census microdata is really wonderful. It's a great example. Fathom, the software we use, gives us direct access via the IPUMS project at University of Minnesota. Now, Census microdata is data about individuals. For example, this is a single 32-year-old black male from California. He's a guard. He makes $44K. This woman here, she's from Central America, works in a clothing factory. She carpools. She makes minimum wage. These things have stories behind it. So now we're going to roll back time to August, first assignment in the school year. Look at some of this data, see patterns, make a claim about the pattern, make a graph to support it. For example, your claim might be that you make more money if you go to college. So here's your claim, and then here's a graph that supports that claim. And the cool thing is that this is not just any old graph, a couple of rectangles. This is actually constructed out of, in this case, 500 separate individual census records. And the kids can actually do this. We still have access to the individual stories like we saw before. Of course, it can also show you things. It can show you other things about our society. But what do kids do when they did this? So this is first day of school, first week of school. You have race over here, and you have educational attainment going through here, but there's too many categories. You can't tell what's going on. But still, we're comparing education for different races, okay? And now, another graph from the same student. This time, we have race going across the bottom and income going up and down. It's kind of weird, but now it's about race and income. And if we had time to really sit and parse this, we'd see that this actually supports an important claim. And this claim that the student made is a claim about race and money and education and social justice and the student's own life and prospects. There's an attribution of causality in here, because the college education. It's unwarranted. Do I care? Hell no. This is the first week of school. So, this work is messy but real data. This totally sets us up to talk about all the other stuff we care about in statistics. How to make graphs, how to clean data, how to communicate well, when to use proportion, for goodness sake, and the problems with causation. And it grows entirely out of something the student cares about. So we did all the other stuff, we come back, same student, Thursday. This is women in the workforce, 1940 to 2000, bam, 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 constructed from 10,000 separate cases. You can totally tell exactly what's going on. Now, is it really working? It's hard to say. But it's really scary, let me tell you, to be following where the data leads instead of trying to pull it where I want it to go. Nevertheless, I think rich data really serves the kids well. There you go. Thank you.